everybody, and welcome to a post game episode of Nothing Personal, Just Buffalo. Obviously, with the rest of the world, the millions of viewers that they have for the divisional round game between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, and a game that did not disappoint, dubbed as the game of the weekend, and it was exactly that. But there could only be one winner, and that one winner today just happens to be our Buffalo Bills, pulling it out 27-25 in true Buffalo Bills fashion. They didn't make it easy. They made it very interesting, but no, nonetheless, they got the dub. Big win for the Buffalo Bills, and we're gonna see it. We're gonna talk about it. We have International D. Donuts break down the office a little bit, but Jay's Mallory, man, how you feeling about the win?
I'm feeling good about it, man. I feel like I was playing again, man. I'm out here. My mom, my sister came over for a little bit, watched it, and I'm sitting there, going. My mom, she probably crazier than all of us, but watching the games. But yeah, my daughter, was able to share her family, man. I'm feeling real good about it. We all knew it wasn't gonna be a blowout. Everybody knew
Okay.
nobody was gonna, even though when it was 21-10 at half, everybody knew they was gonna come fighting back. You know what I mean? Because they're so good of a team. Like,
Yeah.
if anybody thought it was gonna be a blowout, you just fooling yourself because both those teams were too good to get blown out, right? So we sat there and we kind of looked at everything, man. I'm just like, okay, let's close this thing out, and that's one thing that we did, man. And I think that was huge. So I'm amped up, man. Like I played or something.
No, I mean, I obviously, like I said, much respect to both teams there. But like I said, there can only be one winner, and tonight it's the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, I thought they did a hell of a job with ball control. It was not a game um where they let Josh Allen just kind of be Josh Allen at certain moments of the game, but it was one of those a game I think that McDermott's been looking for a long time. Control the ball, control the football, play aggressive, play through play through your backs, and play through your offensive line that has performed admirably all season long, and that's what they did to get the job done tonight. A different style of Buffalo Bills football that we've seen the past couple playoff years, but something we can say this season we've seen consistently.
That's why you make the moves you made, right? Um, Nobody felt good about losing Stephon Diggs, right? But you did that so that the identity of your offense can change, right? So you win games like this, right? Where you got those three running backs for a reason. You draft Ray Davis and you use him, who scores a touchdown today, right? You signed a Ty Johnson last year. Was it the year before? Well, anyway, you signed a Ty Johnson to bring him in for big moments like that. And obviously, you draft James Cook in the second round for him to be able to make big plays like he made today, right? So it's not. But once upon a time, our running game was Josh Allen. That was our running game. That's not a thing no more. That's just a bonus. So his being able to have that and win a football game like this to put us in the AFC Championship game, I think it's major. I know it's major to be able to do it in that fashion. Not on Josh Arm. Josh threw for 127, I believe the number was.
Right.
He didn't throw for 150 yards, and we are going to the AFC Championship game with a win. Like that's huge, man. That's
And
huge.
you know what? Um, I didn't feel like there was no balls today that were even close to being, as I would say, intercepted or any of those tight throws. He didn't. He protected the football 100% today, and I think, like I said, he got a lead and they held on to it. I want to say they milked the lead a little bit, but they did. They milked the lead a little bit. Um, like I said, this is the game that we've been looking for. And I think in the past, this may be a game where maybe there may have been a fumble in the red zone. Maybe there'd been an interception thrown. I had no doubt in my mind all game. Hey, this football's protected.
Yep. I totally agree, man. Like Josh Allen looked poised. He didn't force it. I love the fact that he was checking things down. I know a lot of fans were upset about that Dawson Knox, that third down Dawson Knox play.
Yeah,
But honestly, man, that was a safe play. You live to see another day. Like
yeah,
you punt it, you play on, right? You don't have to force it downfield. You don't like the look you got. Play it safe, man. In those type of situations, play it safe. I guarantee you, the Baltimore fans wish Lamar Jackson would have just played it safe on the one that Rap intercepted, right? Or played the safe when you got a high snap. Just hey, take the sack, take your loss. I guarantee you they would take that in those situations.
Right. What do you
Uh,
think about the? I'm sorry. What do you think about the defensive game plan today to try to slow down Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson? Obviously, in the first half they did a pretty good job at it. The second half, they kind of got gassed a little bit, which from two All-Pro players, two guys that are arguably wearing gold jackets one day
yeah,
in Canton. What'd you think about the first half performance, second half performance, and just overall the day in general?
they didn't run well enough to control the game. So whatever they did for two drives don't really matter to me
Yeah.
because they didn't do enough to control the game with their running game. They had some success at times,
Right.
but they didn't do enough to just impose their will and just take over the game like a lot of analysts thought was going to happen. Where they
Right.
thought they was going to line up and just punk the Bills off. You hear this, oh, they're too little stuff, right? Those dudes took that challenge, they took it personal, and they balled out. They
Right.
balled out. I'm loving it. I'm loving what they brought to the table. They Ed Oliver made some big plays. He was even though it didn't show a ton on the stat sheet. If you watch that dude play, man, he was playing well. He held his gap, and that was the most important thing in the running game. You got to hold your gap. You can't get pushed off your gap.
Right. And I'll say this, as I read this comment from my boy Jamar Norton says, if y'all don't beat the Chiefs, none of this matters. Well, I tell you who won't be beating the Chiefs, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. Because
Yeah,
they beat themselves today, and they didn't beat the Chiefs game week one, and they won't be beating them next week. Cancun on 3-1-2-3 Cancun. But this is
yeah.
going to
We
move
not.
forward off
Yeah, we
that.
not saying this. No matter that's late talk. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, yeah, we're not even entertaining that.
it does matter because it was a game we had to win to get one step closer to Super Bowl.
Right.
You have
Uh,
to win that game, right? Like that's you sound dumb as dog shit saying something like that. Excuse my French. Like you have to win this game to get to the next game, right? So it
right.
does matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we one step closer to doing that know you clap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Exactly.
eh, that's what it's about.
Yeah. So I would say this. And obviously, I'm with Tony Ligard in this comment. If we go 0-4 against the Chiefs and plays, I may be sick, but I'm enjoying this W. Absolutely, people enjoy enjoy this one tonight. Enjoy this one for the week, and then we're back on it on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I'm just so I'm sorry, excited about the Bills and their physicality. Like I just felt like from the team from the past, we were such a finesse team that to go out there and play a team that from the tough AFC North division. And I will say this, out of all the divisions in football, that's probably still to this day the hardest, most physical division in the NFL.
Yes.
No matter what the team's records are, there's going to be a physical game. You're gonna feel it after you play those teams. And I felt
Absolutely.
like this Buffalo Bills team brought it today. Um, they knew that they got big back in that week 4 game. They got dominated, no doubt about it. They got dominated. They got pushed around. They got punished. And mind you, yeah, they didn't have Bernard. They didn't have Milano. They didn't have Teron Johnson. But that also would say that had nothing to do with how they got pushed around that game week 4. And I think the funny thing about things like that happens, those type of losses prepare you for games like today.
Mhm.
The Bills were prepared for the Ravens' physicality, but the Ravens were not prepared for the Buffalo Bills' physicality. Now, mind you, a couple bad plays by Mark Andrews could possibly change the outcome of this game. But it is what it is.
It's
Whatever
part of
happens,
the
it's gonna
game. It
happen.
happens.
Right,
It
right,
happens. It's part of the game. It happens, right? Like your job as a defense is to create turnovers. If you do that, you win. Point blank. Period. Um, like that's my main thing is people are like, oh, if they wouldn't have, but they did, and we forced it. So
right,
that's part of the game. You force the turnovers, you benefit from it. We're supposed to gave it back to them, say, hey, we want it fair. What type of stuff is
right.
that? Like, you know what I mean? So, and one thing I seen somebody put the stat up there about 84 yards. Like, even though they're saying that it was a win, we can't always look at stats and look at that number 84, right? You gotta look at how the 84 was done. He had 2 runs where he had nice. If you take those 2 runs away, he didn't do nothing, right? He didn't. They once again they weren't able to control the game
Right through Derrick
running
Henry.
the ball. They couldn't. They just couldn't. Now Hill probably would have been the more successful back then. If they'd have ran him more, we might have had problems.
Yeah,
He
and
was a lot more successful.
even at that, when you look at the second half, like Hill scared me more than Henry today. I'm not even gonna lie. Like he came with that, as you call it, that playoff juice that we talk about, right? Um, he brought it. He came. He's ready to play. He's ready to leave his mark on this football game. And honestly, when he was in the game, you really couldn't tell if it was a pass play or run play, which we were talking about last week about disguising what you're doing.
Yep.
As well as Derrick Henry ran the ball in the second half, Derrick Henry hurt them in the first half of the ball game. He dropped 2 crucial passes.
Yes, he did.
2 crucial passes. And
it was 2. Because he dropped the one.
He dropped the one in the first half, in the first quarter, that Lamar scrambled, hit him wide open on the sideline. He dropped it. Then he dropped the second one in the red zone.
I might have walked in there and was getting some food being greedy when that one happened. I missed that one.
He dropped 2 of them. He dropped one by about the 4 or 5 yard line. And this is what I mean about preparing your team for situational football, right? All year, you pulled him off the football field. Baltimore didn't, Derrick Henry. When you were down and you need to pass the ball. Then you got to a crucial situation tonight and you needed him to catch balls and it's slick, it's cold. Now, this is a foreign process to him now because you didn't use him in the passing game for the majority of the season. But I'll give you one play about the Buffalo Bills that I want to highlight. The play to Keon Coleman, the RPO slant to Keon Coleman. If you remember, early in the year, they ran that versus Miami, and he dropped the ball, and it was intercepted by Jalen Ramsey. This is why situational football matters. That's why in games, when you run plays early in the season, so you could utilize them later in the season. They knew they were going to get that look again at some point. You knew you were going to get Trey White, the matchup against Keon Coleman, and you dialed it up at the right time. And guess what? He caught it this time. Situational football matters.
And people don't understand how big that 5 yards is. Like 2nd and 5 is a lot different than 2nd and. Those 5 yards matter, man. Those matter.
Right. And that is the thing. Like, Joe Brady, and I'm gonna say, we're gonna get D down talk about this offense pretty soon. Joe Brady may have coached himself into a head coaching job tonight. And we said that on this. We said that on this Thursday show that if Joe Brady called a hell of a game, he may have coached himself into a head coaching job, and he got one more week to showcase himself. I don't want to see him go, but he's coaching extremely well right now.
Yeah, he's everything I thought Ken Dorsey was going to be.
Yeah. What did you think about? Obviously, we talked about in last week's show about the 4-3 defense and seeing it. I saw a little bit more than I thought we'd see tonight. But obviously, when the Ravens played big football, we played big football. Did you feel like it was successful? Do you feel like it worked? Just give me your thoughts on seeing that 4-3 defense with the 3 linebacker package of Milano, Dorian Williams, and Bernard.
I think it was solid. I don't think it's enough for me to say, hey, let's sprinkle that more into the game plan, right? I don't know if that's the case. And today it showed the difference between Matt Milano and Dorian Williams, too. Like, to be honest with you, that showed Dorian Williams is he's a good football player, but that showed the gap between a Milano level player and a Dorian Williams level player, big time, and that was it worked for today, but it's not something I'm going to be hoping that they run a lot of next week.
Listen, let's be honest, okay? That is the Ravens run like a kind of a throwback run offense, and that was a throwback defense. And now I hope for the rest of the season we can possibly throw that one back in the closet and not see it again. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But I will say this. The 3 linebackers were needed to kind of stop that run game and control it, but it once again highlighted, and not to be negative, the lack of a 1-tech or 0-tech defensive tackle in this roster.
Yes.
That is what you're missing. And once again, when you see that them getting clean to the second level to Bernard and Milano, which is what they did in that third quarter to run for the 89 yards in that quarter, it was because they were getting clean because you have nobody to take a double team on that front 4. And that is something that we're not going to harp on it too much tonight because we still have another game to play, or 2 hopefully.
Yes.
That's something that cannot be ignored, and it has to be addressed no matter how you get it done. The last time we addressed that was Star Lotulelei. Okay? Well, we got to address it again, and I hope we get it a little bit better this time.
The first, but he wasn't bad at first. The first couple years wasn't bad. At the end of it, it wasn't good. But you know, let's not talk about the bad stuff. we
Yeah,
listen, but no, you're right though, JT. We definitely gotta get a one tech.
yeah.
Um, by all means necessary. I think through the draft, there's two things I think we definitely need. Is the glaring needs safety and D tackle. I think safety for agency, and then draft later, maybe fourth round, third, fourth round, and then D tackle. I think that's our first, second round pick.
What did you think about the overall play of trying to contain Lamar Jackson tonight? Obviously, if we look at the numbers, he finished with, hey man, honestly, I'm gonna say it, he finished with MVP like numbers tonight.
Yes.
18 to 25, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries, 39 yards, which I thought they did a really good job of keeping him in check with running the ball. But when people look back at this football game, there was the interception he threw that overall, it did not hurt them. The interception didn't hurt them. The Bills didn't get anything out of it from an egregious holding call against
Yeah.
Deion Dawkins. Okay, that
Yeah.
was one of the. Like I said, I don't like criticizing refs. I know that their job is hard as hell. They get paid very well to do it, but that was probably one of the first. That was probably one of the worst calls I've seen all season. On a
By
move
far.
that
By far.
uh, my on by and we knew that they know that that's a move that Dawkins uses all the time. It's not a holding, and I don't see how every once in a while we get instant kisses a group and they call that holding. It's not that's not good.
Yeah.
Um,
That interception, it did do something. Even though we didn't get points out of it, it did something. We stole a possession. In games like this, possessions are so valuable. And by us stealing the possession and then flipping the field like, hey,
yeah,
restart, boom, that's huge. You know what I mean? So being able to Marcus, what's up, man? But yeah, so I think that was very, very huge. Um in the referees, I mean, that's something that we're gonna have to talk about this week, JT, because it's starting to get uncomfortable with just national media, how poorly they're officiating the Chiefs games and the calls that they get. So that's something that we're going to have to address probably on our show, or we are going to address it on our show as we talk more about the Chiefs Bills game, because that call right there, you'll never see that called on the Chiefs ever. You know what I mean? So that
right.
was bad.
Um, anyone in the milk carton? Yeah, Amari Cooper he goes on the milk carton now, man. He's on the milk carton. So
I don't know if it's milk carton worthy. I don't know
oh no, he's on the
because
milk carton. He's on my milk carton.
nah, the reason why not, it was one of those games where it was just like,
They took
you know what I'm
they
saying?
took
It
they
wasn't
took
much
him off the
popping.
field a lot today too. They put
Yeah, it
Mac
wasn't
Hollins
much
on a
pop.
lot.
Yeah, their game plan was to run the ball a lot, and I
Yeah,
loved it. Like
yeah.
they did not anticipate that at all. Like I guarantee you, they thought the Bills gonna try to come in and play Superman ball, make it a Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson thing. If anything, they probably thought we'll try to run Josh Allen more. You know what I'm saying? It was awesome. Their game plan. They were a little bit shocked at that.
Yeah. I would say this too. I know they wanted to make, like you said, the media wanted to make it Lamar versus Josh game, and it overall ended up being, let's be honest, a Bobby Babbitt versus Todd Monken and a Joe Brady versus Zach Orr.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was your game, the chess match between those four gentlemen. And I'm gonna say this, Todd Monken, I thought he called a really good game. I
He
thought Joe
did.
Brady caught a really good game. I thought that Bobby Babbage and Zach Orr both adjusted multiple times as games. All four of those coordinators had had a pretty good day in my opinion. And I don't know about Todd Monken being a head coach at one point. I don't know if that's what he wants to do with his career. But I can see all four of those guys at some point leading their own teams. And I'm just gonna be
One hundred
completely
percent.
honest.
I couldn't agree more with you. Um, when I sit there and I look at that as you're talking about it, it was a very well coached game overall. Period.
Yeah.
Um, it was a very very well coached game, and when you look at that, I don't think it was a lot of coaching errors. They left it to the
Right.
players on the field, and that's how you want it. It wasn't like any plays that was just horrible. Um, and when you really think about it, it was really well coached football. It really was. It came down to execution on the field. The players, they let the players play to determine the outcome of the game. It wasn't like no bonehead decisions or nobody was out coached. It was a really well coached football game.
Did you think McDermott should have went for that? What do you think about McDermott's play calling on the goal line, or not McDermott's play calling, but obviously the shotgun run with Josh from third and goal, and then McDermott's choice to kick the field goal. What do you think of that?
I'm actually okay with it. I love the field goal decision. I was hoping he didn't go for it. I love the field goal decision because now you put pressure on them like that. Like they not only think about scoring a touchdown, they're worried about scoring, getting that extra point for those two. That's a lot to think about as a player. Like, damn, and we got to convert this. Okay, we get score,
Yeah.
then we got to convert this. That's a lot to process and think about, right? The shotgun play, I can live with it. Josh Allen has scored off that before. It's not something
Right.
they never ran, or it's something that's been successful. Um, so it just didn't work.
Right.
They were good at football on that play, and they stopped us.
Right.
I mean, it happens.
Right. It was great. It was a I was okay with the call. Josh Allen 2 yards. I'm always okay with that. No matter how you do it. I thought it was a little bit far for the tush push. I
Yeah,
thought it was way too far for that. And I did not agree with Tony Romo's um, analysis of do a tush push 2 plays in a row. No, 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 no. If you got to fourth down, you kick that field goal. You take the
yeah.
eight. You take the eight. You take the 8 point lead because you do know you have to get the touchdown. You have to get the 2 point conversion. And look at the outcome. Look what happened.
And then you still had, if it came to it, you still had timeouts and getting the ball back. So it was a lot to factor in there. I love the calls. He proved to be right. No matter what nobody thinks, they were the right calls because it won us the game. Period.
Right. Right. I want to talk to you about the running backs this game and the performance of James Cook. Now, obviously, James Cook had let's see, James Cook had 17 carries for 67 yards today, and he added another 3 catches for 15 yards. Obviously, 20 touches. The number that you want to see him at. He got those 20 touches.
Yep.
What do you think his flow was with the game and the momentum? Obviously, in the fourth quarter, the Ravens definitely changed their run fits to force everything to force everything outside if possible. What'd you think about James Cook's performance today?
Very good. I'll give him a solid B plus A minus. He set up runs. He was patient. He protected the football. He took what the defense gave him. That's what you want. That's exactly what you want in games like this. It's all about every yard counts, right? Keep fall positive. You don't lose 2 yards. Don't lose. You know what I mean? Don't gain. Get positive yards. Get vertical. I think he did a really, really, really good job of that. Was efficient, and once again, I think that's a sweet spot for him. 20 touches, 15 carries, 5 catches. In my opinion, that would be the best way to go about it. But however you do it, 20 touches though.
Yeah. Um. Obviously, we sprinkled in. If we talk about the running backs as a whole really quickly, Ray Davis had another 4 carries for 29 yards. Ty Johnson brought another 5 carries for 31 yards. And then also Ty Johnson with 1 catch for 8 yards. Obviously, that I love that play call. That rollout pass, it's worked at least 4 to 5 times this season. And
Yep.
it's money every time because you have to worry about the handoff. You have to worry about Josh rolling out. And Ty Johnson is just I can't express enough of the gratitude that I have for specifically Ty Johnson and Mac Hollins for doing everything they do on this offense. And I'm gonna talk to D Dot about their roles in this offense when he gets on here. Dude, just so underrated, so undervalued this entire season. And you get to games like this in big moments, and neither one of those guys flinch. And actually, Mac Hollins, I mean, obviously you saw that block on Marlon Humphrey. Hopefully he didn't get hurt too bad. But you want players like that in big moments and big games like this because those are guys we didn't have. We did not have guys that basically, excuse my language, didn't give a damn about that opponent across the field. They were
Yep.
going to bring it. They're going to bring their hard hat. They're going to bring it, and they're going to get in your face and let you know about it. Those two guys specifically bring a lot of attitude to this offense.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just think about the identity of our offense last year at this point in the playoffs and our identity now. We got the nasty streak with us. We was finesse, right? You got
Oh,
to
yeah.
get Gabe Davis his targets. You got to get Stephon Diggs his. Like it looked totally different, bro. That you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
really love the fact that we're going into this game against the Chiefs, AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl, right? And they have no clue how we're going to attack them. No clue.
Yeah. And you know what? And like I said, as Marcus says, Matt Collins does in the contract. Absolutely, him and Johnson both do. I think those guys are invaluable, and I think that those deals should be fair, and those should be two of the deals that are done before free agency hits, in my opinion.
I think Johnson gone though. I think Matt Collins could be back. I think Johnson gone. Somebody gonna pay him.
He, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's a great fit. He may not. He may not. But I will say this. I almost feel like if I had to give an analogy for what this offense has changed into, right? No point intended here. No pun intended here. But they turned in their Abercrombie and Fitch from last year, and they then got into the Dickies of the Carhartts, and they not playing no games.
And it fits McDermott personality.
Yes, and I've said it on this show multiple times throughout the years.
Yep.
The problem with this offense before is Brian Dable and Ken Dorsey did not match what Sean McDermott wanted to do.
Yep.
And as I caught him Master Splinter of the week, and he has Bobby Babbage as his Donatello, and he has Joe Brady as his Leonardo. Those are his turtles. Those are his kids, basically. And they're working together. It's in unison. It was times in the past where I did not feel that Sean McDermott was in unison. Well, never mind. I'm not going to say I don't feel. Sean McDermott was not in unison with Brian Dable, and we know how the Ken Dorsey thing ended. It was not running the way that he wanted to run and what he envisioned. And I said last year when he fired Ken Dorsey after that Bronco game, he said, basically made a decision. If I'm going to lose my job at some point, it's going to be on my terms. It's not because I keep telling you guys to run the ball to A, control the clock, rest our defense, and to protect our quarterback, our $258 million investment. We're going to do it this way. And I want to do it this way for a reason. And now we're reaping the benefits of that. For all these people who were calling him Mac Dummy and we'll never win anything with him. Now, mind you, next week's another week. And I know if somehow, God knows, the Bills don't win that game, we're gonna hear those same words uttered.
Yep.
But I will say this is a different team. It's built differently. This is a nasty streak. Like, when you think about those old Patriot teams, right? When the weather used to get nasty. No, I'm not comparing them to the Patriots dynasty. That's something that was done and may not be done again. The Chiefs are the closest thing to that, to be honest with you. But when they use people like Patrick Pass and people like Antoine Smith and Corey Dillon and what was the guy's name? I can't think of his name. The guy went to the Chargers, but they used all their backs like that, right? In the past. Because the weather got bad, the Bills are kind of doing that same thing. You don't need Josh Allen to throw for 300 yards. You need him to go 16 to 22, be efficient, run for a couple of touchdowns. And I saw somebody put in the chat that that's not great. No, that's a great game. That's a great game because you protected the football, you controlled the clock, and you wore a defense out. You executed the game plan. The stats don't have to be great for it to be a great game. You just got to execute what you want to get done. And that's exactly what he did. And that is the definition of a great game.
Absolutely.
Period.
If we win the Super Bowl, if we win next week and he throws for 240, has 3 touchdowns total, and we win the game, who cares? As long as we win this damn game, we don't need him throwing for 300. This team is not built for him. He doesn't need to throw for 300 yards for us to win anymore. That's the thing of the past. That's what makes this team special. No matter how important the quarterback is, no matter what you say, football comes down to 2 things if you want to win the Super Bowl: running the football and playing solid defense.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
100%. 100%. But hey, let's get D-Dot in here to break this office down, because if we don't, man, he's going to be boarding that plane with the Ravens in about 20 minutes. So let's go and get him on in here and get the you know I'm going to be a jerk a little bit. It'll be a little bit. Let's get him on in here and talk about this offense. D-Dot. We talked about on Thursday about the Bills' offense and what Joe Brady wanted to do. I know, and I'm going to give this man a shout out. Marcus Heron said on Thursday in this chat that the Bills were going to kill the Ravens because the 4x1. They did that, correct?
Yeah, they gave him some work in the 4x1. The only thing that I was on the same page with Marcus with taking some shots to the boundary. The only thing that kind of different with that is The Bills more so worked the short to intermediate field part of the field, and also the middle part of the football field. I thought they were going to utilize that to take some shots to the outside. Didn't wind up panning out that way, but I think that kind of gave us a look into what Joe Brady wanted to exploit. No plays out, well, minimal plays out to the boundary, but we saw multiple times with Shakir where it seemed as though he was running some option routes. He was stressing the hell out of Marcus Humphrey, man, or Marlon Humphrey, excuse me. He was stressing the hell out of that dude. You could tell, man. Cooking him. I mean, what, Shakir went 6 for 67? Yeah, it got real. And even
7 targets.
Yeah, even Curtis Samuel had a couple, a couple plays, a couple shot plays, well, explosive plays, excuse me, where he got busy, in that short to intermediate range. So yeah, utilizing the 4x1, but in a different manner than we thought when we last had the show.
Yeah. What did you think about the run game? How did he attack the Ravens defense? And obviously they had a lot of success in the first half, and then, as I call it, a championship winning drive. Like, obviously this didn't win a championship, but when we talk about that drive they had with killing the clock at the end of the game, getting your first down after first down, and unfortunately falling a little bit short of a touchdown to put the game completely out of reach. What did they do? What did they do physically against the Ravens to move off their spots? And honestly, how did they exploit Roquan Smith today? Because I felt like they exploited him a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just seemed as though I think Mal said it. Bully the bully. He was saying that was one of his keys to the game. They just took it to him. They just got downhill and got hands on those guys, and it was just like, listen, we're gonna get hands on them and we're gonna push them back that way. This is kind of like the change in the Bills that we've seen in the past, right? Where they would call Bills refer to the Bills as finesse. Seems as though, I mean, because even when you're in your pass blocking set, linemen, they're catching a lot of the brunt of what's coming from the defense. It's a little different when, you know what I mean, they're able to get downhill, get after it. So we saw on the one drive where Allen scored on the QB power play, we saw some tackle pulls, which we mentioned last show. And the play that he scored on, we actually saw quarterback power, but we saw David Edwards come and pull. Yeah. So those guys, you know what I mean? Those guys pulling, being able to hit those wham blocks, hit those, get downhill, and get hands on those guys and just open up those running lanes, man, was just essential. Roquan Smith, he just wasn't a factor today. And that comes from, you know what I mean, how you're able to scheme whatever blocking schemes and whatever games you're going to play up front to counteract what, the Ravens did. And I think that Joe Brady did that to perfection.
If I had to, and I think, sometimes what you say, you have to be careful what you say. Now, I do not believe that Roquan Smith intended to say that this game for the Ravens would be simple. I don't think he called the Bills' offense simple. I think he was basically stating that the Ravens game plan simple do what we've been doing. I mean, obviously you saw the stats from week 11 on. They were, and kudos to them, the number one defense in the league in all major stats. What was that? Did y'all hear that?
I don't know. Yeah, I heard it. Sound like some type of alert or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe that was Josh saying alert. I don't know. But but no, I think context matters sometimes, right? And he's right. He you as you say all the time, James, do what you've been doing. Don't change your identity. But sometimes you have to alter it. And yes, they were the number one defense over the last 11 weeks. But I just want to highlight something there. They played the Browns, the Texans, the Steelers twice, the Chargers, the Giants, all in that stretch, and the Steelers again. Okay, now there was some good teams on there. We talk about the Eagles.
They're struggling offensively now.
Right.
Saquon Barkley is saving them.
Right. That's what I mean. You're talking about offenses that were some of the worst offenses in football, in my opinion, and statistically. So context matters at times. So even if he didn't say that it would be simple to stop the Bills' offense, that could be bulletin board material because he didn't clarify it necessarily. Okay, it has not clarified. And today, I thought that his comments specifically gave the Bills bulletin board material to go bully the bully, as you said, James.
Yes.
He looked old to me. He looked like a throwback linebacker out of place, a guy that couldn't get sideline to sideline take plays. And I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a lot of little extracurricular shots like Rodney Harrison type elbows and things like that. He did a lot of bullshit today
Yeah,
that
we
I
I
saw.
don't know, we got an echo going on somehow. But yeah, no, I seen it. You know what
I
I'm
got it.
saying? And one thing that we did attack him. And we exposed him some. And you could tell he was frustrated, right? Especially on that first down, the one first down we got, he was pissed. I think that was that to Ty Johnson, it may have been to Ty Johnson. But he looked like somebody who's not comfortable in coverage. That's what it looks like. And like he's somebody who wasn't really very comfortable in coverage. So kind of looking at everything, man, I wasn't mad that he looked that way. You know what I'm saying? We exposed it. He was yeah, he was definitely exposed, AJT. You called it about him a while ago in regards to just Roquan Smith not being comfortable in coverage.
No, I mean, and I thought the Bills were going to exploit a little bit more today. They did less than I thought they would do. But either way, like I said, I did see one real route where they threw the first down pass to Matt Collins on the crosser in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter. They actually ran. Uh, wait, do I have feedback?
Huh?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know if I still have feedback. Let me know if I got feedback. I'm not positive I do or not.
No,
Unfortunately.
I don't hear nothing.
All right, just give me feedback, guys. Give me feedback and let me know if it's still happening. Just give me a thumbs up or tell me it's okay or not in the chat. That way I can fix it. But okay, good now. Yeah, we're straight. Appreciate it, Jeff. So obviously he was fearful in coverage. And like D Dot said, some of those crossing routes they had with Shakir, with Samuel, as I call it, the first down balls, those were great drawn up plays by Joe Brady and perfectly timed drawn up plays, knowing that hey, I'm gonna cross this route, but I know that this guy is not going to be able to get across. And don't get me wrong, you're not gonna keep up with Curtis Samuel or Shakir crossing across the whole football field for 5-6 yards. There's not too many corners in the league that's gonna be able to do it, and you're not gonna be able to do it unless you're bracketing. And nothing against Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey has been a great NFL player. But I will say this, and I said this to you on the phone during the game. He is not a natural nickel corner.
No, he's not.
That is not his home. And they got away with that. They got away with doing it in the first game we match up versus them because obviously we know that Khalil Shakir hurt his ankle. It was not the same after the first quarter of that game. You were not going to get away with that in the second game. It wasn't going to happen. So I thought that was something that maybe the Ravens should have tried to switch up and maybe put a Wiggins on him or something of that sort. But yeah,
I know one thing. I got to say this though, JT.
yeah,
We gotta talk about how important the addition of Curtis Samuel has been. And the thing is, it's not eye popping stats. It's when he's making these plays.
right.
The last 2 weeks, he's made some important plays for us. And I
Yeah.
think we really got to highlight that, man. It's not, people thought us signing him means we need a 1,000-yard receiver. Honestly, I said this when we signed him. He wasn't brought in for week 1 through 17. He was brought in for these moments right here to be that difference maker, that other, right? What we've been missing for so many years, that other, the guy to come in and make a play, a big first down, be a threat to make yards after the catch. We've been missing that, and he's providing that. He's came through. We was a little harsh on him, or not. I wasn't too harsh on him. JT
I
was
was.
letting him have it. He was letting him
Oh
have
yeah,
it, but
he got the
he's
milk
come through,
carton.
man. He's come through, man, and he's a difference maker right now.
No, and I will say this. I agree. Curtis Samuel came up big with a couple of plays. Like obviously, it's not always gonna light up the stat sheet, and it's not always about lighting the stat sheet. Just like in basketball, it's not always about getting 30 points. It's about setting those backdoor screens and setting those picks and maybe grabbing that important rebound. You know, those things matter. And today he made 2 plays that matter. Uh, but I think I will say this, it's the confidence of Joe Brady to draw up those plays in certain situations for him. to put him in a position to make them.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna say this. All right, I'm gonna give him a pass for season 1. He can't come back in season 2 and put up the numbers again though.
I think he was brought here for only 2 seasons. JT. He never was going to be here 3 years. He never was going to be here 3 years. Let's be real. He wasn't going to be here 3 years. I mean, unless he came, because the plan was never for him to be that guy. You knew you was going to pay Shakir because you had anticipated him taking a big leap, right? You knew you was drafting a receiver. So those are your 2 guys. I mean, he came here to help, almost like a bridge player, like be a playmaker. He's going to be replaced. In my opinion. I mean, I hopefully he comes and balls out, but I always thought it was a 2-year thing for him. That 3rd year is blah.
All right, we got D Dot back. So D Dot, man, what are you seeing from Curtis? I already unmuted you. What did you hear from what did you see for Curtis Samuel, and what did you think about that specific play call to him to get that important first down?
Yeah, my bad about that technical difficulties, man. But
Happens.
I think the it's along the lines of what James is referring to, and even when I started get on the show with you guys when we were talking about Curtis having those pitch counts, right? He's a guy that you can scheme open because he can technically win at all 3 levels. He could take those screen passes, he could take those crossing routes, he could even go over top every once in a while on those clear outs, and we even saw him run some clear outs earlier in the season. Where he wasn't targeted, but best believe they had to respect, his speed, going over top. So I believe that Joe Brady, with his experience, with having, with seeing what Curtis can do, and even being able to lean on McDermott and Bean, in regards to what he can do, what he can see as far as their skill set and everything. I think that he is doing a masterful job in being able to scheme this guy open for those spot plays, man. It's kind of like how we saw Mac Hollins, right? Come into his own with those specific 3 to 4 plays a game where it was backbreaking to the defense, where it actually turned into explosives. Only difference is Curtis Samuel, he's a hell of an athlete, man. He's a 4.3 guy. We saw how he changed direction on those Broncos, man. On a drop of a dime, he could change directions and then get vertical. That's the difference right there. That's the difference between the 2 type of guys. And I just think that we see what game plan that they had, and I think we see it manifesting now that Curtis is healthy and now that we're on this playoff run.
And you know what? Just say this: we may see more of that next week. I mean, obviously, there's a lot better chance that we're going to get clearer weather conditions in KC for that game. Not guaranteeing it, but it's a lot better bet.
I haven't looked ahead at it yet.
But it's a better bet probably. We're gonna have better weather there possibly, and in a clean field, that may be a big problem for the Chiefs. But not going too far. Let me ask you guys a question. As of right now, do you think Joe Brady is going to get a head coaching job at this very moment for one of these openings?
I don't.
Okay.
I just don't think there's enough room right now. I think Mike McCarthy is going to get one. I think Aaron Glenn is going to get one. I think Ben Johnson is going to get one. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody here. One is already gone because Vrabel took that one.
And Pete Carroll's name keeps coming up around that Dallas job, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually would. He might do some things there in Dallas. He actually.
I think you know what, I'm going to be honest. I think with Joe Brady's job. Oh, actually, let me ask you. Let me come to you really quick, D-Dot. Do you think Joe Brady may get a job this offseason? What's your percentage?
Not this year. I think teams are going to vet him a little bit, ask him, put him through the interview process and everything like that. Kind of do like some intel type of deal. Just in case I'm saying later on down the road things don't pan out or something like that. I don't think this year though. I think he would be smart not to as well, but that's just my opinion.
Some of these jobs they have they're not ideal. I would say this. I think Joe Brady's possible hiring as head coach is going to directly depend on what Aaron Glenn does. If Aaron Glenn goes to the Saints, that'll be good for Buffalo because then I think that's going to take Joe Brady out the running for that. And I truly think that is the only job that Joe Brady is being possibly highly considered for is the New Orleans job. And that's because if you go back to midseason, when there's smoke, there's fire. His name has been floating around that job for at least 10 weeks now. Okay, so that's all I'll say. But back to you, D. Dot, in the offense. What did you if you could get the game ball to an unsung hero on offense, who would it be today?
Man, unsung hero.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Uh, Man, I can't give it to Cook because I mean we expected that from Cook.
Correct. Good question.
Can't answer it. That's crazy. Man, that's a tough one. And let me say why it's a tough one for me. It's because it's kind of like Spurs basketball, right? San Antonio Spurs basketball when Tim Duncan was there. Nothing eye popping, nothing super crazy. But everybody did their job. You know what I mean? Everybody did their 111th when they were on that football field, man. And it's hard to come up with the unsung guy. I mean, Shakir did what we expected him to do. He balled out, but yeah, honestly, I really can't. I got to give game ball. I mean, I got to give the game ball to the whole team, man. The whole offense, dog. Like that, they got to all share it, man.
James, what you got, man? You got one?
Ty Johnson.
Okay.
No question. I mean, I already mentioned Curtis Samuel, but it's Ty Johnson. Even that run he had when he sealed the deal, like it's definitely Ty Johnson for me. He has some big runs today. He's very efficient, even picking up in pass pro. No doubt about it for me, Ty Johnson.
All right, I'm gonna go with Cyrus Torrance.
Ooh, okay.
I thought Cyborg had a hell of a game. I thought he cleared out the holes. A lot of those runs that we got the extra yardage on, he's one of those guys pulling these guys forward. He looked like the guy, and we have not talked. We talked about him in the first part of the season because he's just struggled with the very first 2 or 3 games of the season. We have not heard anything from him, and if you're not hearing anything from offensive linemen, that's a great sign.
Yeah,
that is a great sign. I thought my game ball for unsung hero would go to Cyrus Torrance. He brought a totally different game than he brought in week 4 to the Ravens. And that road grader that we thought we were drafting, he was cleaning some holes. He was clearing some holes today. He got his money today. Took it to the boys and punched them right in the mouth. So that'd be my unsung hero. But other than that, I mean, guys, is there anything else you want to talk about? We talked about Josh Allen's performance. Did you talk about Josh Allen's performance already?
No. No.
Break down Josh real quick, then we'll get ready to get on up out of this thing, man.
Yeah, just real quick, man. Clean, efficient game. You can see a couple times where he wanted to go downfield. He pulled his eyes down from that read. Once again, corner, and I think Romo even mentioned it. The corner bailed to take away that the deep shot, and he hit the check down. Mal alluded to it as well. Taking the check downs on those plays, man. Those are positive plays. They're positive. They may not be explosives, but they're positives. They keep you time on task, and that's something that McDermott talks about all the time. Being, you know what I mean, staying ahead of the stick, staying time on task with the offense. And it just seems as though Josh is like not only tied to Brady's hip and understanding where he is, but also tight with McDermott. You know what I mean, and what they want to do, how they want to execute. So I'm encouraged by his performance. I mean, not eye-popping numbers. But I'll take the Tim Duncan 2010 and 7. You know what I'm saying, or whatever it is, 2010 and 10, whatever it is that you want to say. I'll take that. You know what I mean? Every day.
I will say this: Patrick Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls with numbers that were not eye popping.
Yep.
San Francisco, the first one, and I believe it was the Eagles, the second one. Nothing was eye popping about those games. Just being honest, okay? So sometimes eye popping don't win you games, but sometimes, hell, they do win you Super Bowls.
And JT. Yeah, one more thing. Let's get out of this whole thing where, people were just like, oh, it wasn't pretty. Just because it wasn't pretty doesn't mean it was ugly, okay? It was just an efficient, clean game. You feel me?
Right.
Ugly would have been Yeah, ugly would have been if the Ravens won. That would have been ugly. 3 turnovers, and you know what I mean, and giving the ball back, and those type of things, not cashing in when they needed to. That would have been an ugly win. This was an efficient win. Efficiency is way different than ugly. All right, so let's get that. Let's get that out of here right now.
Listen, boys line to one quarterback turned the ball over, another didn't. One tight end turned the ball over and dropped the ball, and one tight end didn't. And that right there, that's the difference in two juggernauts going at each other.
Yes.
Who puts the ball on the ground? Fortunately for us, it was not us. And we lived through a lot of moments where it was us doing that. And we play KC. Why does KC win games? Because somebody puts the ball on the ground or does something dumb at the end of games. They make mistakes. We played as clean of a football game as you could play today. Not a lot of penalties, the turnovers, no major lapses on defense outside of the Hamlin being flat-footed. But in the day, like I said, that is the cleanest game you're going to play on both sides. And honestly, they had a game plan that executed it. Hats off to that defense too. And Bobby Babbage, we said on Thursday that they need to come downhill and close those running lanes and just blitz the hell out of them and be aggressive. And they did that. They didn't hide it either. Okay, y'all gonna come, we gonna come too.
Yeah.
I thought Hamlin was one of the worst blitzers in the NFL, and today he looked very solid doing it. So, as much as I give, I have to give that man his flowers. Yeah, like you said, James, he put that damn Guardian cap on today. He came,
Yo,
he
he
came with our head ready to play.
Yeah, he came out looking for drama. Yeah, and you know, we've been tough on him. He put the Guardian cap on there because he came out looking for drama. And I respect it, man. I totally respect what he's brought to the table for this team. I listen, man. I'm giving him his props. He deserved it, and that's just the real talk.
Absolutely. When I see that Guardian cap, I said, I know what time it is. I said, Mallory and say, man, he about to get buck with it today. He already know.
You already know exactly what he did. He's like, listen, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? I respect it. He knew what type of game it was. Enough, man. No lollygagging, no foolishness, strictly business.
Yeah. Stretcher ball. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But no pun intended. No pun intended on that. So I'll take that back. That's probably a bad choice of words. I didn't mean it that way, though. I'm just saying. Like, somebody going to get hit today. You know, old school football. That's it. But yeah, no, other than that, man, great game from the Bills. Efficient. I can't you know, I can't say enough about this team and just the excitement. This is a team that I picked to be 9-8 this season. I did not think that we would be at this point right now where we are, and we're one game away from the Super Bowl. Let's see if we can get it done. You know, other than that, they beat a tough Raven team. And I told you, James, on the phone today, I felt like whoever won this game today was going to the Super Bowl. And I wasn't looking past the Chiefs. I just felt like they didn't play good ball this season. And I think that they're dragging to the finish line. And I don't like when teams, especially great teams, drag like this towards the end because something always happens where you don't finish at the end.
Yeah.
So, but any final thoughts, man? D-Dot coming to you.
Beginning, you mentioned Ty Johnson, Mac Hollins. These guys are just Swiss Army knives, man. I hope we have an appreciation for what they bring to the table. You got the game ball for unsung. Ty Johnson did from James. But Mac Hollins, I mean, on one of the 4x1 plays, man, Knox was coming over on the dig over top. Hollins underneath. He has him on the drag underneath. I think he got something like 11, 13 yards or something like that on the catch and run. These are plays that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet as, oh my God, look at this. But it's plays that just keep drives going, man. So Hollins and Ty Johnson have done this all throughout the year. I know we brought their names up time after time. Mm-hmm. It's in my opinion that this next game that comes up, one of those dudes is going to make a big play. Yep. One of them are going to make a big play where it's going to be an moment for KC. So I'm just excited to see what comes from this next game, man. So go Bills, and great job today.
And all I know, I do know early in the year, there was multiple questions at times about why Ty Johnson and Mac Hollins were on the football field. I'm not going to say no names, but there were people who asked us that. And I said that, and you said too there, James, there's a reason in this roster, and there's a lot of football for these guys to play. These guys have a role, and they earned it.
Yes.
And more in the Matt Collins before I come to you, James. Not only did he catch the 4x1 crossing play, but a hell of a block sending Marlon Humphrey to that medical tent.
Yeah, big boy football.
Yeah.
You play to the whistle. You play to the whistle. And that's exactly what he did. I love it.
Final thoughts, James?
I just want everybody to just really take a moment and appreciate what you just watched tonight.
Yeah.
That was great football. Those dudes didn't cheat you with effort from the first whistle to the last whistle. Those dudes played hard, physical, smart football. They played it clean. It wasn't nothing dirty. That was just great football. I just hope people are not taking that for granted. That was a great football game, right?
It was.
JT and I hate to talk about this, JT and I, we talk about basketball. We both Chicago Bulls fans. People who are NBA fans first wish they could see something like this. We got this in the divisional round. Like, people in the NBA wish they could see a product like this. Those dudes, like, cruise control. These dudes didn't cheat you at all. You know, no offense to any NBA players, but that's the feeling that fans get. So, appreciate it, number one. Celebrate this win. Number two, or number three, excuse me. We're going to get to watch another great football game. And we're hoping we're able to put them to bed and be able to go on to the Super Bowl. And this show going to be crazy next week, y'all. We're able to seal that victory, and it'll be around the same time, too. This show is going to be crazy if we clinch a Super Bowl berth.
Yeah, hey, man. Give my TSA pass. Give my TSA pass.
One step closer to that know you clap.
One step closer. But I will say this, definitely before I get off, shout out to both of these quarterbacks. Obviously we know that both of these guys are MVP front runners, and I'm gonna just assume that Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP by the media narrative that has kind of shifted in the last couple of weeks, led by one Shannon Sharp. But I'll say this, and I agree with Major Cole, who said in the chat. I don't think that this can be. I don't think that this can be overlooked. Undefeated at home.
Yes.
That is the way that you protect your home field. That is true home field advantage. And I've been a critic in the past of saying that I felt like the Bills in the playoff games played better on the road in previous years, and I did feel that way. I felt that there was games they came out too juiced up, and that they got down in the first half and they had to come back storming back. But this playoff 2 games, they controlled these games from front to back, and you never felt like they were out of control. Like they didn't have it. They had it almost every minute of the game. Now, obviously, a fumble from Mark Andrews and the drop, and I feel for that guy because that's going to be a long ass off season. But at the end of the day, it's better you than us. Damn it. So
yeah. Comes on execution. You got to make the play.
Hey, you get paid a lot of money. So I will say this: the McDermott hate needs to stop. And I'm saying this week, particularly before next week. No matter what happens, that Sean McDermott hate has to stop, man. He gets us to the brink or feels like we're on the brink of getting to a Super Bowl every single season. And as we hear about these coach carousels and these recycled names that's coming, the Mike McCarthy's, the Pete Carrolls, the Bill Belichick's, it shows you how hard it is to continuously win in this league. And if there was any questions about the job that Sean McDermott has done, look at the evolution of this football team and the change in the physicality, which you don't get that a lot. You don't just get a team to shift gears and physicality like that. That's a whole different level of coaching. There's levels to this.
Yep.
Okay? There's guys who have lost their jobs over time because you could not get your team to evolve into something totally different than what you started at.
Yep.
That is a hell of a damn coaching job. It's a hell of a coaching job to include guys like Ty Johnson, like Mac Hollins. And yeah, maybe he's not calling the plays, but he hired the damn guy to do it. Finally, his guy to do it. and you're taking two youthful coordinators and you're one game from going to Super Bowl, but you got the same beast that's been standing in your way, but not just in your way, in everybody's way. Patrick Mahomes, Big Red Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce. And now Taylor Swift and damn Caitlin Clark too. They're all standing in the way, and they've been standing in everybody's way. This is nothing new. So, win or lose next week, stop the McDermott hate. This dude is putting on a culture clinic, and as James, you always say it, he's showing you how a leader of men operate.
Yep. And you talking that talk, JT, because what fans get emotional and caught up in, they look at good play callers. Oh, he'll be a great head coach. I want him, right? For example,
Would you have scored on the Van Miller fumble scoop?
Oh, he said, I know you're. Oh, my goodness. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. I guarantee the fans would have been cheering for a touchdown. It would have been, oh, man, listen, I'm out of there. My speed's still on point. Don't sleep. My speed is on point. I ain't that old. But, no, like, with a lot of fans get caught up in the NFL, being a good head coach is about being a leader of men, right? Just because you can call plays, how mean you're a leader of men? You know, and that's why there's so many mistake hires. Josh McDaniels, no knock on him. He's a great play caller. But it's not all about calling plays. You have to you're in charge of the culture of that locker room. You're in charge of leading men. When these guys who have personality or off the field issue, whatever the case, you deal with so many different things. How are you going to do that? That has nothing to do with what you call on 2nd and 10. You know what I'm saying? That's a very small percentage of being a successful head coach. And most head coaches don't even call plays anyway. So when fans say that, oh, he's doing great there, that don't mean you're a good head coach. If y'all remember, nobody even knew McDermott was a candidate for this job. He wasn't a hot name when that coaching cycle. McDermott wasn't a hot name. People was pissed when they hired him. I didn't know who he was. I knew who he was. Let me back that up. I wanted the big name. I did. So when we hired him, I'm like, what the? Why is we hire him? Especially then there's like no head coaching experience. It's like, damn. But then he's a leader of men. So just kind of want to double back on that, JT.
Oh, and also, before we, on the double down on that, shout out to Doug Whaley for leading that coaching search. By the way, he's not the one who led the Rex Ryan hire. He led Doug Whaley led the Sean McDermott hire. The only coaching search. The only coaching search he ever got to lead. I just want to throw that out.
And it's funny because Bills fans don't give him props. He left us with the tools to be able to do what we doing now, right? He left us. He built it. Like that dude brought a lot of talent to Buffalo, and it's messed up that he don't get the props that he deserves.
Yep, left a lot better. Left a lot more than what was the guy named Buddy Nix, and even Marvin Levy traded Jason Peters. I'm just gonna let you know that.
And Tom Donahoe.
Yeah. So, but either way, man, let's get up off here. Final thoughts, just man, enjoy this win. We got a couple days. We'll be back live. I don't know if it's gonna be Wednesday night or Thursday night. It's gonna be one of those 2 nights. It's looking more or less probably Wednesday night to do the breakdown for the Chiefs game or the preview. But yeah, man, fans, enjoy this. Like literally enjoy this. There's a lot of teams sitting at home that's not enjoying this. I know the Detroit Lions will love to be having this conversation right now, but they're not.
We'd be sick if they came up short. Oh, I'd be pissed right now. Right. So, but enjoy it, man. It was a great one.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for tuning in always. Bills fans. I know we got a Bronco fan here. We got Jeff. I know Jeff's a Titans fan. So, we appreciate you guys for tuning in as well, too. I will definitely give you guys a shout out. You guys are on here every week. So, yeah, man. Enjoy it, people. Enjoy it. We got a big game versus the Chiefs. Let's see if we can finally slay the beast. But for now, enjoy it. Peace.